Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Alliance Tournament. I'm Chesser, joined by Orion, and welcome to the second match of Afterlife versus Tuskers.
Yeah, this is just make a break.
This is. I love what Afterlife has done. No surprise, or maybe, double Paladin, Balgorn, Augurer, Magus, Pontifex, double Blackbird, double Manicore, and Gorion. What have Tuskers brought?
Tuskers brought a Claymore, Scimitar, 2 Cerberuses, 2 Orthai, 2 Jackdaws, Kitsune Flycatcher.
So Tuskers here going with basically a Claymore that's full lengths. It does not have any weapons at all. They're going for a complete kite comp, and I like the Scimitar here better than I do with the Atana earlier. It's going to have a way better resist profile against the Paladins, has a smaller SIG, and is going to be faster. The question is Tuskers with their RLML going to be able to pick apart Afterlife? If Tuskers, they're going right for the Augurer right away, target painter on, very smart call right now. If they can headshot the Augurer early on, it's going to make their ability to kill these Blackbirds and Manicores much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see already half damage on the Augurer right now, dipping really low, and looks like they're going straight for that headshot.
Oh wow, the Alpha comes through right there.
Headshot.
Light missiles are deadly. Now what Tuskers are going to aim to do with their light missile setup, they're going to look to completely strip apart Afterlife. Very smart target calling. Look at this. Tuskers immediately taking out links of Afterlife, just absolutely neutering the Paladins and the Balgorn. So while those 3 ship cores may be able to withstand this type of burst DPS, the entire backline of Afterlife certainly will not be able to.
The support wing basically at this point is completely forfeit. The floodwaters are rising, and they're stuck on the last piece of high land, and the water's only rising.
So Tuskers right now are just using a scalpel, surgically picking apart Afterlife. While Paladins and Balgorns are powerful, they are also very slow. As you can see, the entire Tuskers team running, I would assume, with full skirmish and possible even some shield link in there from the Claymore, which has nothing but, I assume, straight links on it. Look at how fast they're going, and look at what's going on Afterlife side. They're priming an Orthrus, which is an absolutely great call. It's actually got a web on it from the Balgorn. Needs to be careful if that's a flag bal. Grappler on 2.
Electronics is getting real low. Oh, he might be in trouble.
Oh boy,
he's grappled and
he definitely could go down.
Gone.
That's a great first target, because the Orthrus is going to have little to no EM resist minus the link maybe, and if that goes down, man, he is just barely clawing on here. His XLASB is probably running flat out, but once that is out, I do not see him living much longer.
You can see he's trying his damnedest. I mean, he's going about 57 meters a second, which is not that far, and his speed will probably increase with the grapple broken. But you know, he's burning it out probably as hard as he possibly can.
It's really difficult to do that though when you are under Balgorn newts and Balgorn webs with the NOS. The Orthrus, only being a cruiser, generally does not roll with a cap booster, so if it even gets touched by a newt from a Balgorn, it's going to stop its MWD, and it's going to be slow boating and slowly killed. So the Tuskers now completely eviscerating the backline of Afterlife. They're now starting to work on a Paladin and leaving that Balgorn alone, which is a good idea. That Balgorn is a flag Balgorn with Tobias webs, which means that with links, it has the ability to web out to 67 kilometers. Links are dead now, but still, very long web range, very dangerous for this kiting team. The question is can Tuskers avoid unnecessary losses and break these Paladins before they lose too much?
Well, I mean, the Orthrus, that Lartronicus is still holding on for dear life while this Paladin is dropping out of armor and into structure.
I am blown away that this Paladin is dropping this quickly. Yeah, I am blown away. There we go. There's the armor app coming in very late. I am curious to see if they're just straight breaking him with their burst DPS. Oh my god. Oh, barely holding on here. If this Paladin goes down, this is a terrible... Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Afterlife basically saw what PL did with the double Paladin comp, figured that they tried the same thing. Doesn't look like they pulled off the same kind of results here.
Light missiles not only have amazing application, they have damage selection and extreme range, which means that the entire Tuskers company, when they get back off of reload, can apply just astounding DPS, as you saw originally with the Augurer just being sniped down with just a target painter on it.
Yeah, it's like a bucket of bricks being poured on your head. It just cudgels you to death. It does take a while to put the bricks back in, but doesn't matter when you've been concussed.
Afterlife's killed Scimitar of Tuskers, but you know what? At the speed at which I can see that they can take down a Paladin, I think it's going to be too little too late. All of their DPS is still there. Nothing's webbed down. Nothing is neuted. So as long as Latronicus in his Orthrus can keep going, I think they've got a good chance of taking this. Kitsune down for Tuskers, which, again, Paladins are very weak to ECM, but right now, they're in a commanding position, and if they break the second Paladin, it's all over.
Yeah, I mean, the Kitsune going down is going to make things slightly harder, but it's not going to change the outcome at this point. I mean, all they have to do is just keep range, and even with the Tobias webs on that Balgorn being piloted by Faffy Waffy, it doesn't matter. I mean, they just have the ability to have range control as long as they're smart and pilot well and stay out away from this Balgorn.
Latronicus finally going down. Wonderful piloting by him and Skylar in the Scimitar doing everything they can to keep it together. This Scimitar stayed up so much longer than the Atana, not only because its resist profile is a lot better to EM and thermal damage, which is what Paladins are locked into, but it also has a smaller signature than an Atana and is much faster with an Afterburner.
Paladin down.
So with both Paladins down here, this is a flag Balgorn, and correctly, the Afterlife do not have a single gun on the Balgorn. So it has basically 0 DPS. It cannot kill anything, and every single ship here, being all missile ships, they don't need energy to shoot their weapon system. So at this point, in 4 minutes and 50 seconds, can the Afterlife's flag Balgorn tank and withhold against this burst type of DPS that Tuskers has, or are Afterlife not only going to lose the match, but throw their flagship away as well?
Well, I think the flagship is probably lights out. I mean, almost half the match is still remaining, and missiles don't care how little cap you have, which is part of the reason why I originally chose Caldari when I started in 2004. You can have a lot of things happening to you, but you can always still shoot your guns. And it's as you can see right here, it's dipping into armor. Now, don't get me wrong, this thing is probably going to be tanked to hell and back. But, you know, with 4 minutes and 18 seconds still remaining, that's a lot of DPS that's still on the field with this Tuskers team, and I think they have plenty of time to do it.
So Faffy Waffy doing something very interesting here. He's MWDing all the way over to a tournament beacon. Now, I don't think he's going to use it to try and escape around the arena, just because the speed and projected DPS that the Tuskers team has. My bet is if he feels his tank is breaking, he will jump the Balgorn out of the arena, preventing Tuskers from actually grabbing any of that delicious purple loot, which is a really nice play that Afterlife is doing here. Question is are Afterlife and Faffy Waffy going to be able to hold on here? This is basically just a counter against the clock. This fight is going to go to match 3. It's been intense between Afterlife and Tuskers. The question is can this can this Balgorn hold? I don't know what the fitting is for the low slots, but if he has a reactive armor hardener, Tuskers are going to need to start thinking about what type of damage they're shooting into the Balgorn. They need to switch it up. Some people need to start shooting thermals. Some people need to start shooting explosive, and not just stick to one damage type, because it's going to make it much worse. But you know what? It looks like they're slowly grinding him down here, and with 3 minutes, I'm very concerned about Afterlife's chances here.
Well, you know, he's still dipping into half. We still have, like I said, we started at 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Most of the match is still remaining, and we still have 3 good, solid minutes here for them to just wail on this flagship to try and open up the pinata of purple. And as we can see here, he has gotten to the micro jump unit. Let's see what he's thinking of doing about it. Looks like he's heading to the opposite side of the arena. It looks like he's not trying to do an Edge of Glory, so we'll see what happens with that.
He's just starting MJD now. Oh, it looks like he's actually jumping. Looks like he wants to be pointed all the way straight up towards another MJD possibly. He's not going to try and jump out of the arena with this one. MJD going off now. He's in the middle of 2. Did he break enough DPS in time? Now we're at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Faffy Waffy doing everything he can to try and make this as painful as possible for Tuskers to try and grab this Balgorn. 35% armor, still taking damage, so it looks like he did not jump as far away as he had hoped. It's going to be interesting to see if he can pull it back. 38%, so he's just trying to claw back a little bit with that extra time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. This Balgorn, I think, is going to be going down.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he tried to see if he could at least get away from the large chunk of their DPS to try and avoid losing this expensive ship. But
he's heating it his MWD right over to the tournament micro jump, and if he can get there in time, I don't know. Will he be able to MJD either out of the arena or not? Entering structure now. This is going to be a nail biter close to see if he can stop any of Tuskers' crew from getting any of this purple.
Well, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, he's just about to enter range for it. He's almost there, but he's already at less than 1/4 of structure. His armor barely coming back. I think he's going to die before it even activates.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, now it goes on, but he gets a huge signature bloom from this armor going. Can he take it before he dies? This is going to be huge. Is Tuskers going to be able to get some loot out of this?
Yep.
Oh, it goes down. The wreck is still there. Oh, wow. The MJD almost at the exact same time. The wreck is there. Wow.
And that's it. So it's me, Gorion, and Chester, and looking at you, camera, back to the analysis desk.
Thank you, Go Ryan. Thank you, Chester. That match, incredible. Tuskers coming back, giving themselves a little bit of room to breathe as they force this into the third of a best of three. Really, really intense play. Yeah. Kind of a bit there at the end. I don't know if anyone else was listening and hearing the pilot. Stay on target. Stay on target. Moderator, what did we see?
Okay, so what happened there is that the Afterlife brought the same setup. Tuskers did some bans and did some things that indicated that they maybe thought that they wouldn't be facing that. So they brought more or less a similar comp. They brought kind of the long-range Caldari missile ships. But what did they do? They brought a Kitsune. And I would be willing to bet more than anything else that that Kitsune had at least 3 Amar jammers, one for each of those ships. And with the Paladins not having very good sensor strength due to them being the Marauder, they were probably jammed out for most, if not all, of the fight. Tuskers could kite away, they killed the Augur, and then they just killed the support and snowballed from there.
Yeah, I mean, bringing a jamming ship to counter an exact setup you think your opponent's going to bring is something we see a lot in the final stages of the Alliance tournament. Teams will gamble a bit on these kind of things, and in this case, I think they gambled correctly.
The gamble paid off. Really being able to shut down damage coming out, and then at their leisure pick apart that team. What we saw after they brought down the Augur, it was really just like systematic 1, 2, 3, 4, straight down through the support wing, and then moved up to those battleships at their leisure to just kind of, we'll take this one, and we'll take this one, and then let this battle bounce around a few micro jump units for a while. Highlights, anything that really stood out to you, Fozzie, as great piloting or just good target calling?
I mean, the kind of brutal efficiency that these rapid light ships were able to take down the Augur, pick off the small ships. It was just a setup that, honestly, both Moderator and I were a little bit worried about the Tuskers setup when we saw it, thinking that they were in trouble. But the combination of the Kitsune, probably with just the right jams, and the ability to take down this Augur. We talked in the last break about how the Tuskers would have had a tough time killing that Augur with their previous setup, with cruise missiles, without the ability to get right on top of the target. These ships are faster, and rapid lights apply really well to Tech 1 cruisers, and there's no difficulty taking down an Augur with this setup.
Yeah, a little fearsome at first, thinking that they didn't expect to see those Paladins again, but there they were. I think it was Gorion who mentioned that he had seen it before. It was definitely the Afterlife who brought it. That's them bringing it 2 times in a row, and Tuskers, you know, not expecting the punch the first time, but seeing it telegraphed for the second.
And so Afterlife came into this probably with the same thought process that PL did in their second match. We're ahead by 1 in the series. If we can avoid giving away any extra intelligence about what setups we have, that would be great. Anything you give away today means your opponents have a full week to practice against it. So if you can avoid doing that and save all your good stuff for the last weekend, where at most they have 1 day to prepare for it, it's a huge win. But now they need to bring something new out, because they know if they bring the Paladins again, they're going to lose. That's almost guaranteed. Tuskers have their number for this setup. They need to bring something else, and it's probably going to be one of their best setups.
Now, we are going to see additional matches both in the elimination bracket and in the undefeated bracket next week, starting on Saturday at 1500 Eve time, the same schedule more or less as this weekend. That, of course, commencing as per usual with the elimination bracket matches, where we'll see Phoebe, Freeport Republic, Exodus, NC Dot, and Pasty Syndicate, as well as Volta. We form Volta, engaging in elimination combat. Right now, we've got to look at the stats for the match we just saw. As we give those pilots a little bit of time to breathe, we can see how Tuskers took Afterlife's breath away. 201,000 damage coming out of Tuskers. Just dropping through, starting with that Augur, moving through the support wing, and then going up after those battleships and that flagship. Do we confirm that is the flagship for Afterlife? Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
A lot of money gone. 32 billion?
Yeah.
32
Very
billion
expensive
flagship.
Ship. But most importantly for Afterlife, it means they can't bring this flagship again. They can't bring it next match today. They can't bring it next weekend. This is a real big loss for them. It's interesting, actually, to note, Tuskers, in all of their winning, actually made one really serious mistake. Their scimitar flew out of the arena.
Oh, was that a boundary violation?
That was a boundary violation. See the 0 damage he took.
Why?
I was suspicious about it when he went from full to 0 that quickly.
Wow.
But yeah, so that scimitar just accidentally wandered himself out of the arena. Thankfully, his team was already ahead by so much at that point that didn't matter. But I think he has an honorary membership to Habit waiting for him.
It's possible. He also has a resume up somewhere. You're looking for an experienced Logi pilot. No, I'm sure he's not fired or anything. He's done well. He did pretty well keeping that fleet together up until he PL'd.
Maybe at that point he was just winning by so much he decided to walk away from the computer, go get a drink, make himself a sandwich.
Relax. Called up Elise Randolph and he was like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? No, I don't know why I'm calling you." Who could say? Who could say?